Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer, the DRF race of the day for Thursday, September the 14th is race number 7 at Aqueduct. It's the Belmont at the Big A meeting, and it's opening day. Our feature race is going 6 furlongs on the outer turf. It's a first level allowance race. It's 100 grander. And as we take a look at the field, remember to scan or click the QR code for race of the day access on your mobile devices, which includes free formulator past performances. And Mike, we've got a favored coupled entry in here for the Christophe Clement train barn. The 1 Don't Look Back at All, and the 1A Lady Mia, who's very intriguing, shipping in from overseas.
Yeah, not sure which part of this entry is the stronger half, Dan. The import, Lady Mia, did just miss in a Group 3 over in France, and she won 3 times over there. But her stablemate down towards the inside, Don't Look Back at All, is probably exiting the best race of her life when back on turf last time at Saratoga.
Let's throw up the Timeform US pace projector for this 3/4 of a mile dash. Timeform US believes the 6 fleet-footed, the 8 Play the Music. They'll show speed. Play the Music, the 8 looks like maybe she's a little bit quicker out of the gate. Don't Look Back at All. The good news for her is she seems a little bit tactical. She went on the lead 2 starts back, and she came from out of it last time.
Yeah, she could maybe get any kind of a trip in the race. We'll see what they decide to do with her. They did rate her pretty strongly in her most recent start. I didn't think this pace was going to be that fast, Dan. I did sort of feel like the 6 fleet-footed could get there if she wanted it.
If the pace does heat up, keep an eye on the number 7 Feathers. Note the LP flag over the number 7's Chicklet. That means that Feathers is the fastest late pace rating from our friends at Timeform US. First half of this strong entry is the 1 Don't Look Back at All, breaking from post position 3. Gate to wire winner, 2 starts back on the dirt at Park, showed some versatility last time out at Saratoga. They made sure to keep her covered up as long as possible before swinging into the stretch on the outside. She comes with a nice solid run to get second.
Yeah, some nice late momentum here from this filly, Dan. This is her first time sprinting on turf as a 3-year-old. It's probably the best race she's ever run. She's not going to be able to get to this front running winner from Leslie Ward, but it's a solid performance. Listen, I can't say that I loved her as a 2-year-old, Dan, but she certainly ran well there. And if she takes another step forward, she's supposed to be pretty tough in here.
Lady Mia is going to be making her first start off of a lengthy layoff. We haven't seen her in about 11 months. She's a European invader getting Lasix for the first time. And unlike many European horses, this one showed speed, especially in her most recent start, that Group 3 in France. She wore a hood that day. She showed speed and set the pace. But what I liked about it was how determined she was in the stretch. She must have fought off about 3 or 4 challenges before finally succumbing late.
I agree. It was a really good performance from her last time in a pretty tough Group 3 race over in France. So, I mean, it's unfortunate that we haven't seen her since then, and it suggests that maybe there was some kind of an issue. I do think it's at least worth pointing out, Dan, that while she did win 3 times over in France, she did one of those races on the all-weather. The other 2 were claiming races over there, which you don't really see that often. So it feels like she wasn't maybe that good at the beginning, but she got really good towards the end of last year. It's a long layoff now. I think the most interesting thing about her is this is the one that Rosario's riding, despite how well her stablemate ran last time.
Another horse with European experience is the number 2, Queen Ali. She made her North American debut for trainer Graham Motion in this race, going 5.5 at Laurel, and she just didn't show a lot of speed. You see Will Humphrey alter course down towards the inside for some running room, going to get past this horse now, and then she's going to get back out again. I thought she ran very well to be second, Mike. I think for her first start off, a little bit of a break, it was okay. Motion excels usually with these sort of horses. Give her some pace, she'll come with a kick. The question is, does she have enough speed to stay within range? She's kind of weaving her way through traffic.
Yeah, I like this performance from her. They were very conservative with her early in this race, and they really rated her to the back. I liked the run that she put in, and she was still coming at the end once she got out into the clear there. I thought that was a good performance, maybe a little underrated. She had form over in Europe. I know there aren't a lot of wins there, but they kept her right in stakes company all along after a really promising debut, and she ran pretty well in a lot of those races.
I thought the 3 Decanter was a little bit unlucky in her last race. Going into the turn, she was kind of in and among horses. And as we turn into the stretch, Flavien Prat did everything he could to dive down inside and save some ground. Now he's going to try to get out again with Decanter, and she'll come with a decent enough late run to finish third. But going 5.5 furlongs, it's tough to be running sideways and tough to be in and among horses. All things considered, she ran just fine.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with your take on this race. I did think she ran fine in here. I didn't love her performance too back, although she didn't necessarily necessarily get a great trip that day either. This is a good performance. Her maiden win, first time on turf back in mid-April. That was a good performance off of a really good trip. It feels like there's some upside here.
The Formis Domina is a horse with tactical speed and a horse that can work out her own trip. My concern with her, Mike, is that she's been sort of stuck at this level now for 6 consecutive races. She won 2 starts back, but that was when they dropped her in for a tag.
That's probably what she needs again if she's going to pick up another victory here on the turf, Dan. Her last race was not good. She did not do a lot of running in that Don't Look Back at All race. The first start off the layoff at Saratoga there, another performance at this level where she was just kind of nowhere behind the canter. I don't really feel like she matches up well with horses like this.
Waiting for a breakout performance for the 5 Georgie Spirit for a while now, and maybe she just needed her last race at Saratoga. It was her first start since April. She took some money that day. She was down inside. I wanted to see a little bit more in the stretch, but I still think she retains some upside potential, and maybe she'll take a step forward with that race under her girth.
I think we look at her the same way, Dan. I don't want to give up on her yet. She was pretty disappointing in that last start, but maybe she just needed the race off a little bit of a layoff. Her prior form, particularly the ones sprinting on the grass, those races are pretty good. I don't want to give up on her yet, but she's got to show me something here.
The 6 is fleet-footed. All 3 of her lifetime wins have come against fellow New York breds. Her 2 starts against Open Company, well, they haven't been as good. One was the grade 3 matron at Aqueduct last year, where she was just in way too steep. And then last time out in that first level allowance race, maybe chasing wide wasn't the best plan for her. She might have an easier time of it up front this time around.
It does feel like, if nothing else, she's a filly who just wants to be involved early. When she can't get a position either up, right up on the lead or on the pace altogether, it just kind of feels like she doesn't really run her race. I'm assuming that this time Castellano comes out of there running and tries to make the lead.
Interesting that Feathers is cutting back in distance, shipping in from Southern California. This horse ran just fine, went 4th in the Del Mar Oaks as a 3-year-old back in 2021. Now she's with David Jacobson, who's a high percentage trainer. Her last race at Santa Anita, sort of an even performance, but a race that didn't have a lot of pace.
I've seen Jacobson, take plenty of these horses over, Dan. He buys them privately or winds up with them when somebody else does. They come to New York, and they actually run pretty well in these races. I don't know. I thought this one was pretty tough to make on this drop back in distance, but maybe this is what she wants. She's run some good races on turf.
Play the Music, I thought, had a little bit of an excuse last time out. The natural excuse would be the layoff. We hadn't seen her in a long, long time. And then she just got caught up in a pace duel as the favorite. If she lacked fitness off the layoff, that sort of trip wasn't going to help her out. I think with that race underneath her, she's probably going to be a stronger from a fitness standpoint. And I think there's a good chance that she's in front or very prominent when they turn for home.
I think that's a fair way to look at her, Dan. I mean, listen, the horse that she dueled with last time finished a couple lengths ahead of her in 4th. But again, this horse was off the layoff in there. So maybe she just really needed that race. As far as figures go, it was a real step in the right direction for her. And she's still really lightly raced.
The code to number 9 is tough to make. She's going to be a big price. She's only 3 for 34 lifetime. She's never hit the board in 6 tries on the turf. So she's going to need to really do her best and maybe have some things happen to some of the others, have them regress.
To really make a case for in this race. Maybe they just entered here hoping this race comes off the turf. But even then, I'm not sure that I would like her.
Even if this race goes off, go off the turf, you've got plenty of horses on the main track only list: 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. We'll hope it stays on the turf. Click the subscribe button on the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel for the latest DRF videos. Top pick time for opening day at the Belmont at the Big A meet. It's the first leg of a 50-cent pick 4. Mike, you're going with Queen Ali. That was a very likable stretch kick last time out at Laurel.
Liked her stateside debut. I think they just found a really good spot here shipping into New York, Dan. So I'm going to take her in here. Really thinking the added, half a furlong or so could actually help her in this race too. I didn't love the entry. Didn't want to take those 2 horses. Maybe Georgie Spirit, Dan. I'll wait and see what kind of price she is.
I'm going to chalk out with the entry. I like Don't Look Back at All's last race, and I think she can stay a little bit closer to the pace. Decanter is a horse I want to fool around with maybe, especially if this pace gets hot. I don't think we've seen the best of her. She's just been a little bit inconsistent throughout her career. 2-5-1-A-1 for Mike, 1-1-A-3-7 for me. It's the Thursday race of the day. Good luck.